You can make money and still feel poor. You can grow a business and still feel like it's running you. Because wealth that costs your peace isn't wealth. It's just stress disguised as success. Everyone is chasing freedom, yet very few actually feel free. They build systems, scale operations, and double revenue, but inside, they're exhausted. That's because they've built their success on the same energy they were trying to escape. Constant urgency. You didn't start your business to become a prisoner to it. You started it to expand your life, not to compress it. But somewhere along the way, peace got replaced by pressure. The truth is, wealth and pressure aren't the same currency. Real wealth doesn't shout. It hums quietly in the background, where structure meets serenity. The entrepreneurs who last aren't the ones running fastest. They're the ones breathing deepest. Ancient wisdom said that abundance was never about accumulation. It was about stability. A person's true prosperity was measured not by how much they owned, but by how little they were owned by what they had. The calm mind was the highest form of capital. In today's world, that translates to one simple truth. Wealth isn't about how much you earn, but how much peace you can maintain while earning it. The reason most entrepreneurs feel trapped is because they confuse intensity with consistency. They sprint toward goals, burn out, recover just enough to sprint again, and call that productivity. But consistency isn't built in adrenaline, it's built in rhythm. Even your heart rests between beats. That rest isn't laziness, it's what keeps you alive. Your business needs the same kind of pause, so does your mind. Calm isn't the absence of work, it's the presence of order. Control is what most entrepreneurs chase, thinking it will bring peace. But control is a myth. You can't control markets, clients, or timing, only your clarity. When your mind is clear, you don't need to control every variable. You simply act from center, not chaos. There's a timeless principle that says, focus on your effort, not on your outcome. Because the moment you attach your peace to results, you give your power away to things you can't command. Stay steady in the process. That's how real builders thrive while others crumble under pressure. So, how do you actually build wealth that feels calm, sustainable, and deeply fulfilling? It starts by creating rhythm. First, anchor your day, not just your goals. Don't start by chasing tasks. Start by setting tone. A calm morning isn't indulgence, it's infrastructure. Take a short walk, breathe, or write. Whatever recenters you before the world begins. A grounded start creates grounded decisions. Every deal, every conversation, every plan flows differently when your energy isn't scattered. Second, trade intensity for frequency. Wealth doesn't come from the occasional sprint. It comes from the daily rhythm that never breaks. Small, consistent action compounds faster than random bursts of brilliance. A steady entrepreneur beats a brilliant one because steadiness is scalable. Third, define what enough means. If your definition of success keeps shifting, you'll never arrive. The brain can't relax into satisfaction when the target is always moving. Write down what enough looks like. Enough income, enough time, enough peace. When you define it, you create an internal finish line where your nervous system can rest. Without that, even success feels unsafe. Fourth, systemize your emotional stability. We systemize sales, marketing, and finance, but rarely our state of mind. Create emotional rituals, just like operational ones. Short pauses, breathing resets, gratitude reviews, end-of-day shutoffs. You don't scale chaos, you scale calm. And fifth, lead from energy, not exhaustion. Your team doesn't need you to do everything. They need you to be steady. Leadership is energetic. It's emotional tone setting. When you lead from calm, your entire business calibrates to that frequency. You can't demand balance from a team that never sees you rest. You can't expect clarity from people who only see your overwhelm. Calm is contagious, and it's profitable. Urgency feels productive, but destroys focus. When everything is urgent, nothing is truly important. Pressure used sparingly creates diamonds. Pressure used constantly destroys the minor. The modern entrepreneur's disease isn't laziness, it's chronic tension. The cure isn't more grind, it's intentional stillness. Take a breath right now. Ask yourself, which part of your business feels like it owns you? Where are you working out of fear rather than alignment? Write it down, not to judge, but to notice. Awareness creates space. Space creates freedom. Wealth operates in two loops. The outer loop of money, clients, and strategy, and the inner loop of energy, clarity, and mindset. The outer can't stabilize if the inner is spinning. You can adjust spreadsheets endlessly, but until your state steadies, your strategy will always wobble. The goal isn't to eliminate ambition, it's to purify it, to move from frenzy to flow. That's what wealth with peace feels like. Not slower, but steadier. Not weaker, but wiser. Start with the simplest framework. 3 minutes of stillness each morning, 3 priorities each day, and 3 gratitude reflections each evening. Protect those 9 minutes like equity, because they are. They compound calm. When people talk about being self-made, they forget that the self they made determines the wealth they build. If you build from chaos, chaos will scale with you. If you build from calm, calm will scale too. Slow doesn't mean less successful, it means more sustainable. The world rewards clarity, not exhaustion. So make clarity your brand. Wealth that feels peaceful doesn't require you to work less. It requires you to work lighter. You act without attachment. You grow without panic. You rest without guilt. You know the pace of your purpose and you respect it. You don't need to chase the loudest trend. You need to hold the quietest truth. Your energy is your empire. So stop measuring success by speed. Measure it by steadiness, by how aligned you feel when no one's watching, by how deeply you can breathe while the world keeps spinning. Because the calm entrepreneur doesn't just build a business. They build a life that doesn't collapse when the metrics change. They build wealth that feels expansive, not explosive. And that's the point. The money should grow, but so should you. The most successful people aren't the busiest. They're the most balanced. They understand that discipline without peace becomes damage,